Meghan Markle was stubbornly insistent on wearing high heels on the lawn at the recent polo match, which is clearly inappropriate for a sporting event. Could it be because she's overly fixated on her height? Hello, friends. Welcome to the King YouTube channel. All right, folks, before diving into the main story, I want to ask you all a question. Do any of you feel obsessed with your height? As for me, standing at just 5 feet 4 inches tall, I've always been a bit self-conscious about it, but not to the point where I feel compelled to wear high heels at a sporting event on the grass like Meghan Markle, this foolish woman. That's what I want to discuss today. So let's go over some information about her. Meghan Markle has claimed to be 5 feet 6 inches tall, but in reality, that seems to be her height when she's wearing high heels. So it's another addition to the long list of things Meghan has been less than truthful about recently, as she attended a polo match with Harry. And like other occasions, this was no exception. Those high heels were right there on her feet. She wore a pair of pricey 105mm Napa leather boots worth £565 from one of her favorite brands, Aquazzura. But who in their right mind chooses to wear high heels on the grass like that? Maybe Meghan Markle is truly too fixated on her height. Maybe she's overly self-conscious about it. We know she didn't choose those shoes for their practicality. So here's the thing, I think Meghan Markle is a lot shorter than she claims to be. When you see her standing next to Harry, who also wears some heels, she looks tiny. And there's nothing wrong with being short, especially for a woman, but Meghan just can't resist lying whenever there's an opportunity. As I mentioned earlier, I'm 5 feet 4, and it's never crossed my mind to lie about my height or feel ashamed of it. Plus, I usually don't wear heels, especially not at my age. If I do, it's just a little kitten heel or something like that. I mean, this woman's obsessions are absolutely out of this world. So I'd say Meghan Markle's height is probably similar to mine, around 5 foot 4. She might want to claim she's taller, but that's just not believable. 5 foot 6, though, that's quite a stretch. Now, Harry is 6 foot 1, and when Meghan stood next to him, even with heels on, she looked really small. Just looking at the photos in that article, it's clear Meghan isn't 5 foot 6. If she were, the 4-inch heels would only put her about 3 inches shorter than Harry, and that's definitely not what we saw. Now, Harry's shoes seem pretty flat this time. In the past, he's been known to wear heels, but maybe not on this occasion. Even if they added about an inch of height, he still wouldn't be towering over her like that. That's why she had to wear those silly shoes to the polo match. She didn't want to look short next to Harry or her friend Delina. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being small or short. Meghan would have been much more comfortable if she'd opted for a nice pair of sneakers or sandals. So, after looking at the photos and doing my own calculations, I've concluded she's about 5 foot 3.5, or maybe 5 foot 4. And here's why I believe that. It's widely reported that William stands at 6 foot 3, and this doesn't seem to be controversial. I believe he really is that tall. You can tell by looking at photos of him, he's very tall and doesn't need to wear lifts in his shoes like some people we know to boost their height. Plus, he's not desperately trying to cling to any sense of dignity. In most photos, he looks to be about 6 foot 4 because of the shoes he wears. They don't have lifts, it's just normal for shoes to add that much height. For years, Harry's height was estimated to be around 6 feet tall. But recently, of course, he's had this bizarre growth spurt. Now he's looking taller, according to people on the internet. Random sources, I guess we could say, have been claiming that he's 6 foot 2, but I don't believe it. If you look at photos with both men standing together on a flat surface at the same distance from the camera, not wearing hats, you can see that he's 2 inches shorter than his brother, if not 3 inches. So even if we're being very generous and saying that Harry is just 2 inches shorter, that would make him 6 foot 1. Let's compare that to Meghan's height. I looked for similar photos of them standing beside each other, and the ones where we know how high her heels are, like the engagement photos, are a perfect example. If we account for 1 inch for his shoes and 1 inch for his hair, which is sometimes styled tall, visually Harry may be about 6 foot 3. Her heels are just over 4 inches. I examined these photos carefully and used her heel height as a rough ruler in the distance shots. So I think there's at least a 7-inch difference in their heights. You can see in the few shots where both are standing up straight, he is a lot taller than her. If we do some calculations, that means Harry is looking like he's about 6 foot 3. And then Meghan Markle, she must be only 5 foot 4, because if we account for the 7-inch difference, there's no way she's 5 foot 6. It means she truly is obsessed with height and lying about it on her profile. That just makes her look even more like a liar. So, you're probably wondering what to wear to the National Polo Center, right? Well, let me fill you in. They've got this neat section in their visitor guide that talks all about it. First off, they've got some cool photos to show you what folks typically wear there so you'll know what to expect. Men usually go for colored shirts, while women often opt for dresses. Oh, and if you're planning to stomp on divots during the game, it's best to wear wedges instead of heels. Trust me, you don't want to get stuck in the grass. Now, why all the fuss about the dress code? Well, keeping those polo fields pristine is no easy task. Stilettos can damage the grass, and we definitely don't want that. Plus, safety is a big deal, especially for the horses. So, the condition of the ground is super important during the game. Okay, moving on to something else. Have you seen that photo of Dina? She looks so tall, right? If Meghan Markle is 5'6" with heels, then Dina must be at least 5'10". Wait, scratch that. I'd say she's got to be at least 6 feet tall for that photo to match up with Meghan's claim. Pretty wild, huh? Well, there's definitely some drama going on here, and it's kind of amusing, don't you think? So, here's a theory Meghan bolted after just one season because of a big showdown among the wives. Delphina seems to have some issues with her, but Meghan's likely banking on getting some free publicity out of it all. Honestly, it feels like a big, messy soap opera with Meghan at the center of it all. Now, Delphina, she's a whole different story. She's got the background coming from money and all, plus she's been through those elite circles in boarding school. She's a mom first, then an athlete, and a loving wife. I bet she's not too fond of Meghan, but she can handle her. Delphina's got this, she knows the game. Meghan's just out of her league, honestly. It's not about height or anything like that, it's just that Meghan seems to have a habit of stretching the truth. I mean, who knows what she's not being honest about? Age, height, maybe even her kids? It's like a never ending story with her. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Harry's already a tall guy, so why the need for lifts? It's pretty noticeable when you see him and William side by side. I highly doubt Harry suddenly shot up in his 30s, don't you? So, what's with Harry and Meghan's obsession with height? Do they think it gives them more power and popularity, or are they just all about looking good in photos? It's like Meghan's always had this dream of being a supermodel, but let's face it, her body shape isn't exactly what you'd expect for the runway. She's not exactly built like Helena Christensen or Cindy Crawford, right? I mean, wanting to be a Victoria's Secret angel. Meghan, sweetie, that ship has sailed. There are plenty of guys out there who dig shorter, petite women, and tons of gorgeous actresses who aren't towering. Look at Winona Ryder or Christina Ricci, for example. There's no shortage of petite actresses to look up to. So why couldn't Meghan carve out a niche for herself in that world instead of trying to fit into a mold that doesn't suit her? It seems like Meghan's always in this silent competition with Catherine, right? Catherine's tall, but it's natural for her. Meghan, on the other hand, seems convinced she's this tall goddess with endless legs, but let's be real, her legs aren't exactly supermodel material. She often goes for clothes that would look great on runway models, but they just don't suit her body type. And then there's the heels. She thinks she can pull off anything with a pair of heels, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Maybe Meghan needs to learn to embrace what she's got. Her height could be something unique and special, but it's like she's always chasing after more. She could find contentment if she stopped wanting so much all the time, but hey, that's just my take on it. It's like Meghan's always reaching for something, but honesty doesn't seem to be on her list of priorities. I have a feeling her new business venture isn't exactly taking off like a rocket, and she needs to come to terms with that. She's got to understand that success takes hard work, and I'm not sure she's willing to put in the effort needed to make it happen. So imagine my surprise when Meghan starts using Harry's pals to promote her products. Why not her own friends, you ask? Well, it's pretty simple, she doesn't really have any. Or maybe she's worried her friends might start asking her for cash given her track record. Now, Harry may not have as many friends as he once did, thanks to Meghan, but at least he still has a few left. After all, he was a prince once upon a time with plenty of pals to go around. So, just like how Meghan Markle seems to have taken full advantage of Harry, today's topic actually comes from one of our viewers. They're a big fan of our channel and of me, which I really appreciate, and they've suggested this topic for us to cover next. You gotta spread the love, right? Now, I've done some serious digging into this issue, so I'm gonna need a big favor from all of you. Please stick around and watch the whole video until the very end. It means a lot. Okay, back to the story. Polo player Nacho Figueras posted a photo on Instagram of himself enjoying some, wait for it, jam on toast. And guess what? He's posing with Meghan Markle's new product, sporting the American Riviera Orchard label. His caption. Have I told you I love your jam with a laugh? But here's the thing, his vibe didn't seem all that genuine. He looked pretty uncomfortable promoting the product, if you ask me. It's pretty clear that Nacho wasn't exactly thrilled about promoting Meghan's product. It feels like he was pushed into it by Harry and Meghan. Honestly, these days, nobody really wants to be associated with them. They've got this toxic aura around them. When it comes to Meghan, all I see is scandal and drama. It's like it's her trademark or something. But hey, amidst all this negativity, there's a silver lining. Meghan's latest business move actually gave a boost to sales for King Charles's own jam. Apparently, just hours after Meghan released her Jam King, Charles's High Grove Organic Strawberry Preserve flew off the shelves. So, in a weird twist, we kind of owe Meghan a thank you this time. Thanks to her, we're reminded that other people's products, like King Charles's, are often way better than what Meghan has to offer. You know, when it comes to Nacho, I can't help but think he's a grown man who should be able to make his own choices, especially about what he posts on his Instagram. But that whole vibe he gave off, like he was forced into it, was pretty amusing. Maybe Meghan and Harry are just using Nacho to boost their own image. But let's not forget, I reckon Nacho's been using Harry too. I highly doubt he genuinely likes him. It seems more like he's leveraging Harry's royal connections for his own gain. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense in a twisted way. They use Nacho, Nacho uses them. Honestly, it feels like all of Harry and Meghan's relationships work out like that. You know, this is one of those moments where we can really see the contrast between Harry and Meghan. Harry has a history of genuine charity work, like using his passion for polo to raise money for African countries. It's admirable. Mm. But then there's Meghan using her connections to line her own pockets. It's like she's stuck in her ways, unable to change. Harry and Meghan never seem to do things purely out of compassion. There's always some calculation involved. If there's something in it for them, they're game. Now, these events Harry participates in only bring in about $1 million a year. And how much of that goes toward expenses like appearance fees for Harry and Meghan, or maybe even Meghan's wardrobe? It makes you wonder if this is just an excuse for Harry to indulge in his passion for polo while someone else foots the bill. It's pretty sad to see how Harry, back when he was a true royal prince, used to put in genuine work for charity, especially during his time as a working royal. But it seems like Meghan's influence has rubbed off on him, teaching him the art of shamelessness and cringe-worthiness. And don't even get me started on that bizarre maid's cap they put on Meghan's jam jars. What a waste of fabric, right? It's not exactly eco-friendly either, considering it's just going to end up in the trash once the jar is opened. Talk about unnecessary. Anyway, count me out of buying any of Meghan's products. I'd rather not take my chances with getting poisoned. Thank you very much. So, word on the street is that Nacho posted some photos on his Instagram throwing some shade at Meghan. Yikes. I can only imagine the fallout from that. Maybe that's why he ended up promoting her jam on his feed. Talk about awkward. Anyway, given Harry and Meghan's current situation, I doubt they'll find anyone else willing to advertise their products like Nacho did. If they don't use each other, it's going to be all about coercion and threats. And you know, if Harry does become a US citizen and has to give up his titles, maybe we'll finally be rid of all the media buzz around them. Wouldn't that be a relief? They'll just be regular folks, nothing special. And honestly, I don't see why anyone in the UK would even care about them anymore. They'll just be another couple living their lives, no big deal. I really hope they don't try to pull some stunt to come back to the UK. They'd be a laughingstock. They've lost public support for good. So they should just stay put in Montecito, California, living their lives as nobodies. The way Prince Harry has behaved since introducing Meghan Markle to his family has been nothing short of ridiculous, absurd, and frankly disgusting. It's been shocking for so many people to witness. We're all just waiting to see how this whole saga will end. One thing's for sure, they're free falling, and it looks like they'll continue to do so. The royal family took care of Harry. They loved him and protected him. It's truly sad to see how he's turned out. But you know, as bad as Harry's actions may be, at least he's not the heir. And thank goodness for William, he's a much better man than Harry could ever hope to be. Meghan should never forget her past actions because guess what? The people sure won't. After insulting the British, she had the audacity to claim she did well to escape from it all. She's constantly trying to cling to her faint connection to the royal family, believing she's still relevant. But let's face it, she's not. Who does she think she is with that ridiculous crest and crown logo? and insisting on being called Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and referring to her imaginary children as prince and princess. She's got some nerve, doesn't she? Thankfully, most people see through their facade. They see exactly what they're up to. Every purchase of an American Riviera Orchard product is essentially rewarding Meghan for all her attempts to harm the royal family in Britain. All the lies she's told, all her attempts to undermine the monarchy and the country. And as for Harry, well, he's dealing with his own issues. He certainly doesn't need any more money to fuel his problems. Maybe they should just stay put in Montecito, find a more affordable home, and perhaps Meghan could scale back on her designer wardrobe. Whatever unfolds, well, it's going to unfold. Meghan might be banking on her business to somehow undermine the royal family using their reputation to sell her products. But let's be real here, they're not exactly connected to the monarchy anymore, no matter what they try to portray. And let's not forget how poorly Meghan treated her own biological parents and Harry's parents, too. It's clear she's not the best person around. I just can't wrap my head around why she has such a problem with the royal family. They treated her with kindness and respect. They certainly don't deserve all this toxicity. When it comes to racism, the real issue lies with Meghan Markle herself. She's manipulated her skin color to her advantage when it suited her, while hiding her true heritage when it was convenient. Let's face it, she's not proud of who she is. She's gone as far as complaining on her blog about being excluded as a schoolgirl because she was different, which might just be another tall tale. And for what? To stir up unnecessary drama among Harry's circle and those he served as a working royal. She even complained to Oprah about things that likely never even happened. And she didn't stop there. She continued to discuss her circumstances on various platforms, like the recent Stereotypes Against Women podcast. But here's the kicker: Meghan and Harry are the ones perpetuating racism. It's a reminder to all of us that we should never exploit others to reach our own goals. Remember, what goes around comes around. So, thanks for watching all our videos. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you again soon on the King YouTube channel.